Hmm. Hmm. $36. Yeah. And we're fine up until this, right? And this. Right. And here we go again. Right. You see the 4C and you see the Lexus, right? But look, right? Look who's leading, right? And then look, we don't have to mind it much, except for a couple of bits. Now, I'm in the 4C. And, right. I'm in the 86, and the race starts. I see the Lexus, and then I see the 4C, and I'm like, oh. Or, I have that gut reaction of just like, this is gonna be a thing. So I'm minding this Lexus, and I'm like, so it's the 4C. Okay, gotcha. And this is like, definitely the 4C though. Some bullshit. Just give it a second. And I'm great. Nobody fucks with this 86, by the way. Because of the stick shift, because of the wheelbase, a whole host of things. It's the same thing with the Viper Group 4 and the Aston Martin Vantage in Group 4. Now, this 4C, by the way, turbocharger mid-rear. I'm not minding it though, since I'm fine. I can off-road a little bit. Now we're talking. Because in the 4C, it's not an easy car to drive, or it's not an easy drive, since it's so small and right. And then now, this is me being overzealous for the entirety of the race. And then it does that. So it's fine, by the way. Now see, they knew I wasn't supposed to be doing that. Or what the hell happened with the 4C? And it's like, here we fucking go with the sportsmanship, and nobody fucks with this 86 or the Viper Group 4 or the Vantage Group 4. You wanna know why? I'm catching up to the race. I don't know who this is, but I'm smelling a Lexus somewhere, right? But it's the Mazda. So I'm good. If nothing else, I'm not gonna be finishing like so far last. Now, here's a tricky bit. Once you turn or make your corner, you're supposed to pick which side you're gonna be on. But they do this crap. You see the issue? Now look at the 4C again. And they're fine. But now they're not again. Because they are in the middle of the track and because you're supposed to pick which side you're going to be on so that they can overtake or pass you or whatever the hell it is so that you don't make any contact. You see me, I'm on the left or the right as soon as I make a turn. Depending on the pack or whatever it is that I'm behind. But then I have to pick, unless I'm doing the switchback maneuver, before they even notice and see me or hear me or anything that I am a fucking liability about. Which means I am overdriving, giving the Group 4 Viper, the Vantage Group 4, and then the 86. Because it's front rear naturally aspirated. Everybody else does that crap. As far as I know. And then you can't do that. It's unsafe. As soon as you make like it's like the turn signal thing. You get me? Remember what I told you about, like, you're driving at the wheelbase at the power to weight distribution. So when you press the accelerator or the throttle, it pushes you forward. With the front rear naturally aspirated, you're dragging the air, like at the speed that you're upshifting or downshifting. The air gets pulled back. The transmission kicks in up or down from the engine when you press the throttle. But the weight is just huge, no matter what wheelbase you have, which is all that anybody gives a fuck about. Once you're picking the car that you can drive. And then you have the power to weight distribution of every corner, of every turn, and of every chicane and right angle. which is why you have to turn signal such that whatever the steering is that you're going to do, you're on the left, you're on the right, and then whoever's in front or behind you can hear you or see you making that call, or you're going to do the switchback maneuver. In which case, maybe, because you could just be driving too much and then the track has you. But it's just the defensive safety of just I can't take a chance on this at all whatsoever. I have to bring it in one piece or not hurt myself or respect the track for that day. So you can't. Because I could pick the tires, or I could check the wind speed, or I could check the temperature, or I could check the humidity, and then they're taking these chances with the turbos, which once you drive the 4C, the wheelbase every time. Because it's a small car, because it's a heavy car, because it has enough power to weight distribution, and then everything else kicks in. You never go for the BMW or anything else that gives you an issue that way, unless it's the car that you can drive, and then what do you want? Okay, again, right. The RCZ, RZZ, RCZ from Peugeot, right? Or Peugeot, right? The 86, and like that weird 86 thing, right? Like the livery, right? And the Audi and the Nissan. So it's kind of like maybe like a girl race from behind me, which I'm about to notice because I'm making a left at the start of the race. So I'm fine. The race starts, and I'm like behind this yellow and behind this RCZ. So I always, or most for the most part, just whoever is behind me, and I'm like, oh, great. One of my favorite cars, it's the best. Now, whoever this is, I gotta give my respects or hats off. And they have a friend. So I'm like, oh, interesting. Good for us. Except, you better drive this car. And they are. And they do. So now I'm in a lot of trouble. I could not get the overtake. I could make a mistake like I just did with whoever's behind me. The track could give out, the car, I could make a mistake, right? And I do sort of here-ish, because now I'm just, oh, whoever you are, I like you so much. And now this, that isn't, but they know what's up already behind me. This 86 Supra. So they're like, oh, it's fine. Just see if you can get this RZZ to just give out and get an overtake. And I have, or I may be, right? They're fine. They're fine. They're driving the fuck out of this RCZ. Happier than shit, biggest shit eating grin of your fucking life. And then this happens, where I'm like, oh, I could just be behind you the entire time. For whatever reason, this combo and the naturally aspirated front, and then thing that this pairing of us is. So, fuck. How the fuck am I gonna pull this? With this crap. Which means, since I'm behind them, and I'm picking left or right, giving the width of the track or the turn or the corner, now I've got their ass. Because the way that I'm driving, I'm pulling in the aspiration, and they have to make the same maneuver or not, which means pick left or right as soon as or before you turn, because it's the safest thing to do. Now this Megane, right, has me at whatever the aerodynamics happen to be, or not for this race. So I'm behind the 4C again, but it's not the 4C again, it's just the 4C again in like that same exercise of just like, for safeties, let's see how this goes. And then I don't make the same mistake as the first lap, but the RCZ gets away from me, which is bullshit. So now I'm going for his ass, or their ass, or her ass. I don't give a fuck at this point. I am getting this overtake, contact or not, because it's bullshit. And then I don't care. I could give 2 fucks less, right? And then that's a race. Look, the overtakes that I had, the way that I had them, and all of the physical bits, or the physics of the race. Look, contact from him, going like, how are we gonna do this? Or her, or whoever's in charge of this 86. And I'm like, I'm fine, what are you talking about? I pick left or right. See? Left or right, and then I go right. And I'm like, left or right, and I go right. You see? And I stay on the right, by the way. But the turn is coming up. So I pick left. And then left or right, and I go right. And then here's a mistake from the first lap or whatever, where it's supposed to be left or right, but then I didn't have the time because I had to be behind them, and then they take off. And then you couldn't. I don't know why I did that, but it's not supposed to do that. But then it's fine to keep up with the pack, or it was probably just the aerodynamics of the fucking race. And then look, I'm fine, left or right, and I go right. Whatever the fuck is the thing, because I'm driving it like if it was a real race. It's stressing. It's just so stressful. There's no other way to drive. Which, by the way, you don't do this. You don't do this if you just like turbos, or if you like fronts, or if you like rear. You just don't. All of this comes from front rear naturally aspirated. Because I'm driving the game or playing like with the simulator with the fucking thing that was like, I don't know how, I don't know why, but this fucking thing just in real life every now and again, you know, the game leaks into, you know. And see the switchback maneuver or the defensive, and I'm like, oh, great, but now you're stressed out, and I gotta mind the fact that I can't touch you. So respect. What are we gonna do though? I'm braking early. I don't give a fuck, and neither does this McGann. They're French, and I am an 86. That's how we're playing this one. Now I'm not making the same mistake as the last lap, and I'm staying on the left. And then you could, from the right, put that's a nightmare, or like, what do you, at that point? And then I just got pissy. I cannot see this RZZ twice after that turn and then get this overtake no matter at any given cost. And look, the Berlinetta, the Mustang. Where is it? The Berlinetta and the Mustang stand out. But then there's all of the Group 3s. Look, the Viper you have to underdrive. The Corvette you have to overdrive, but then that thing gives out. Same thing as the Viper. The Vantage is and isn't a thing because it's such a heavy car and it's such a big car. The C7 is just like for fun. The Vantage, the Mustang, they're drivable and like it's fine. It's not a problem. The Berlinetta is undrivable. The SLS is drivable, but it's a nightmare since it's so old style. The Mustang again is so. The Camaro is like the only maybe real car. Same thing as the 8621 and the BRZ 21. I'll see you at the Viper from 2013 is like a real car. But again, they just all give out. They all give out. The Vantage Group 4 and the 86 are the only cars that are real maybe cars because they have a stick shift. And you can't drive them wrong. But the Viper Group 4 is a nightmare. Like you have to underdrive that thing so bad. And the Mustang Group 3 is a nightmare. The Berlinetta is a nightmare. The C7 Group 3 is right. You can't. And then what? Scroll down. Look, Supercharger 4C. And I could talk my ass off about the 4C, but it is the only car of that size. And it is so much fun, but it is mid-rear turbocharger. And oh my god, no. Look who's close. The RZZ, the Mustang Group 4, the RCF. And by the way, like, right, it's like the Audi thing. Or like a little bit like of the end. Like they're fine. They're fine. They're fine. They're fine. But you cannot do this mainline. You cannot do this on a regular basis. You could if you had other things. You don't like doing this. Same thing with the Genesis. Like the Genesis front wheel naturally aspirated, but it doesn't drive at all. Same thing with the 650S and or the Lancer at this point, or the Mazda, and it just gives out on you like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. The Mazda grew 4, the Italia grew 4, the Audi thing again, supercharger again, mid-rear turbocharger, and then wait for it, four-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. The 4GT MR, the 86 2015. No, 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 no. And then electric cars, and then Formula, and then a truck, and then like, no, 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 no. The Alfa Romeo, no, 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 no. The C8 in terms of just like the 430 again, the Murcielago or Murcielago, the AMG, the Group 3 road cars, no, no, no. The '09 911 Porsche, the CR1 from '09, the supercharger, no, 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 no. Look, by model year, right? You can kind of tell maybe like the size of the thing. It was like they built it and blah 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 blah, and then like how many cars, blah 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 blah. You get it? Like they made like a brand or like a car from like a thing that was makeable, and then they made so many, right? And then it was just like, don't do this. But now we gotta do this other thing that we also cannot do, so that we can keep doing also the other thing, which was the turbocharger, and then the supercharger. But then so that we can have front wheel nitrous. But then there aren't any really, unless of a specific type, or rather like wheelbase. And then you couldn't. The same way that you have different ways to like the car list and different, you couldn't set them all up that you wouldn't be able to find this just from like playing the game and driving it for, or rather, I'm sorry, playing it for real. Because you have to notice the front rear naturally aspirated thing. Like I drove the '88 Supra for like a long time, and like the 4C for like a long time. Like those are my two favorite cars, and the RCC. Eventually, I was just like, why is this so? And then I can't remember which one it was, but it was front rear naturally aspirated, and I was like, oh. I read up a little bit beyond the Apex or whatever the hell it was in Brand Central, and then the car list that gave you the history and the summary. One of the biggest fucking I just shouldn't have, right? Data acquired, blah, blah, blah. Give it a second. Because the game takes you through the tire change in the championship list, and then the weather, and the shifting. So I was, right, first manufacturer that I chose was Peugeot, or the Renault. Right. But then I was a 911 Porsche guy, and then naturally aspirated. At the very fucking least, naturally aspirated, even if I started rear. And then it was like mid rear, but turbocharger. And then the Viper, because it was recognizable. And so is the Murcielago. And I think I sold off that Renault, or I handed it off, something like that. And then the LFA. Because you drive this piece of, there's this one race with the Lexus that you're like, oh my God, what is this? No. And then the R8. And the Huracan is so good, and then the C8 you're just arguing with. The Challenger is undrivable. And then the C8 is just like, oh my God, yes. And then when they put out the Gallardo. or the Gallardo or whatever, and the 4C. And there's just so much fun on the 4C, but it's just you will not get any respect on that thing. And then I got you, how about this 86? And I'm like, you have any of this on Ferrari? I was like, how about the Berlin? I was like, are you saying I could drive a Mustang and a Chevrolet and an AMG? And I was like, if you hit up this Dodge, and I was like, without an Aston Martin? And I was like, you could totally be the boss. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get slow. And I'm driving a Camaro. Oh, I'm not a sociopath, but I couldn't care if I tried, right? Oh God. And now see, the race starts up again. And it's me and yikes. Look, GTR Veyron 458, Supra 2019, RZZ 86 again. And it'll be fine, by the way. It doesn't matter the weather, it doesn't anything. You have to be at the race, at the track, driving that thing the way that you're supposed to do it. The Vantage, right? Right. I did the car list or whatever, but I didn't notice this Ferrari. So I'm looking at Genesis, and then I'm like, yellow Ferrari. And I was like, okay, great. But mainly just the RCC, and then whatever the Supra, and then Alfa Romeo combo is. I give up, right, trying to win this race, since I'm in the Vantage, and it's so much car behind the Genesis. Because I just don't have whatever you right to get anything out from this Vantage. But after a couple, right, I kind of get the picture that I was like, okay, so I can get this overtake on this Hyundai. Now, this Ferrari is just gonna be the thing. Because it's don't touch this Ferrari. Right. Fine, I won't touch this Ferrari. I did, however, lose the track for a little bit, so it's not gonna be on me if this Ferrari doesn't mind it, which, oh, we are not in tip-top shape over here. So I'm like, fine, either the Ferrari gives out or the track gives out. I will never catch up to this Supra or this Alfa Romeo. I couldn't give two fucks about other than an overtake here or there. And it's like, right, Ferrari being like, just don't touch this Ferrari, and it's like, great. And I was like, that's it, that's the race. Whatever the Supra and Alfa Romeo thing is, like, I have no chance. It's like, oh, the RCCs, whatever the hell they are about. And I was like, okay, now it's a bit of a laugh. And I was like, you're not pulling away. You're letting me have this overtake? And I was like, wow, Supra, we've come a long way. And I was like, really, Alfa Romeo? And I was like you wouldn't believe it. And I was like, very funny. And I was like, of course. And I was like, now you handle these RCZs, or are you gonna just? And I was like, come on now, it's Vantage. Like, what are you talking about? It's just could possibly go wrong. And I was like, could possibly go wrong. So I was like, 86. And I was like, I'm fine. I was like, you're fine. And I was like, hey, you're gonna have to let me just, I'm on the right. And I was like, great. Two knuckleheads, maybe. They mean well and they're doing well. And I was like, whatever this 86 is about to be, watch. Because I'm behind him and I was like, you motherfucker. Whatever this bullshit is now. And I was like, right, just get back into the track safely. And I was like, don't let him crash into you. And I was like, we're fine. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And like, for a minute from behind. And I was like, left? What are you talking about? Which lane am I on? And I was like, right. What are you talking about? And I was like, 86. Here we go again. You know me. Let's have it. And I was like, right. What are you talking about? Why would I pick left? And I was like, your ass is mine. And then this race is about to be some bullshit. So, for all intents and purposes, or like I could give a fuck. Okay. Viper Group 4 then. Right. Remember what I said? The 86 you can drive however the fuck you like. You cannot drive that thing wrong because of the stick shift. Right. And the front rear natural aspirator. Right. And the wheelbase. Right. And the power to weight distribution. Right. If you can drive it because it's a small car. So if you're a tall person, but you can get the equivalent in the Vantage or the Viper. Right. Now the Vantage, it's a lot of car because it's heavy and because it's European and blah blah blah. Right. And in the Viper, you cannot possibly overdrive this thing. Right, it just gives out on you. So we're about to just get into it. We're gonna see the track list. Right, thanks. So what do we have? The Supra, and then the WZ, and then the supercharger four-wheel drive that we were complaining about. Right. But then the 4C at the back. Okay. The 4C has no hope in any of this at this point, unless we relent or we give out our positions and then we try to, like, that's a thing that you can do, right? Like, to underdrive or whatever, or have an easier race, right? But you shouldn't. Like, at that point, just don't drive. Paddles, right? Right. The Supra, right? And then look. And then look, by the way. See? I'm gonna shut up, though. Okay. The Group 4 Viper, which overdrives. Thank you. So I'm going to give up this car and this track and this race. At the first sign of this motherfucker cannot drive next to this Viper that I am driving in. So they will just hurt me and they will hurt someone else. So I will not with this Viper. Not even for a second, let alone less of a second. Right. I got the Renault on my side, the 4C, and then whoever it is behind me, that will just not be an issue from behind. But I have the Supra. So I'm like, so what's gonna be this thing then? Because this Supra so far has been an asshole the entire time about being a Supra, which I will not take personally or just, not be vindictive about. And then the Subaru has me at whatever this is, the safeties, bro. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, talk to me about this and this. That I am so excited. And I was like, great, let's have this race. And I was like, turbocharger in front of a naturally aspirated. So I am just like, it's like, this is too easy. So I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to give up this Viper. And I was like, okay, great. I know how to do this. So I'm like, left, bro. And whatever the hell this is now, it's right. I could give two fucks less about anybody behind me if I don't give up this Viper. And then the track gives out of me immediately to this Viper. And then whatever this Renault is scared to death about. Now I'm like, okay, so then I could lose this race. But no, because I'm still like left, bro, and then right. And then I was like, that's it. Whatever this Supra was about wasn't a thing. And I was like, great, no, nothing there. Turbochargers are a thing, just not for me. And I'm like, right, bro, but then you're doing that turbocharger thing again on me. And I'm like, I'm not driving this Viper, right? And I was like, look at this Subaru if you're not gonna look at me. And I was like, Subaru gives out at the first sign of this Viper being like, awesome. Now, this supercharger that I do not know how to drive, and then this four-wheel drive was just like, oh, now this could be utter complete disaster. But no, because I'm like, whatever the hell this is like that 650S that was white 5 seconds ago, or a little bit ago, where I'm like, I can't touch this Jaguar, or this, like a Ferrari or the Mustang. So whatever this is nothing but respect. But I'm like, left, bro, and then right. So you just make up your mind already. And it was like, okay, you're tired or you don't know how to drive this thing, just like I am on a Viper and I could be a hazard, which I am. So let's just both agree that we are a liability to each other. And I was like, great, now just go and get out of my fucking face from this rearview mirror. And I'm like, great. Whoever was in charge is paying for this Lamborghini and then Mercedes. And I'm like, okay, so then this race is mine. And I was like, you wish, given that we are so close. And I was like, great. Now this is boring. And I was like, no, you wish again. And I start repeating myself. Because then this happens. We're at a stalemate, or we're standing still basically. And then the car gives out of me. Like I'm not supposed to touch this Mercedes. Like I'm not supposed to touch this Mustang or this fucking Ferrari. So I fucked up all over again. And I was like, whatever the hell it is, it's fine because of this Mazda pairing. That is just like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm driving a Viper. With superchargers and RCCs, just freaking. And then the track gives out on me, like, cause I'm exhausted at this point. Corkscrew is killing me, driving up and around it or on it or in it or down it, and it's just like turbochargers and then the ventilation, and then it's like, I can't at any given point in time. It's all Mustang for me. And then the car gives out. Like I was driving fine, but then the track gave out, and then so did and then at this point I remember, oh, it's a Viper, and I have to bring this in one piece, and I got any maintenance for it. So I start underdriving it, or I underdrive for that turn or those two corners or after corkscrew, right? And then no, it's whatever it is in first place by a drag or just like by hair's width, right? Right. Hmm.